Hey there, and welcome to our latest episode of What's on the Horizon. I'm Lori Sharonbrock here with Chris Shooker of Digital Horizons. And we were just kind of talking off camera about sort of a recent high profile security type event. And so I was wondering, when it comes to your security systems that you guys install, like what happens to that data? Where is that stored?
So for our camera systems specifically, we, in almost all circumstances, the way we install our systems, there's two parts. There's going to be obviously the cameras, and we very strongly, almost exclusively, prefer to do hardwired cameras. They operate in Minnesota temperatures. There's no batteries involved. You're not relying on Wi-Fi. If you want a camera to work reliably, you don't rely on unreliable things like a battery and Wi-Fi. So separate video. So cameras being the first part, and then the second part is going to be the recorder. We refer to them as an NVR or network video recorder, and that is what the cameras connect to. They come in all different shapes and sizes. They are specified based on how many cameras there are and a bunch of other criteria that we do as part of our system design. And one of the criteria of the NVR is going to be how much hard drive space is inside of it. We kind of probably an unnecessary detail, but we order our NVRs empty. A lot of the camera manufacturers that make recorders unfortunately ship them with fairly inexpensive hard drives, or I should say low quality hard drives. And so we specifically order them without hard drives. Number one, it makes them less expensive. But two, it allows us to specify surveillance system hard drives. We exclusively use Western Digital Purple hard drives. They're built for constant read and write, which is what happens in a surveillance system. And so with all of those things combined, this system in its whole is owned by the end user, right? We'll provide it, we install it, we set it up, we configure it, we give them access, but it exists in their home, it is owned by them, and it is only accessed by them. And so the recordings, when the cameras can either record continuously, or what is most commonly done is we configure the camera to record based on motion events. And in recent years, we're able to tell the system to identify certain things and only record necessary stuff. So vehicles and human beings, things like that. We usually don't get rid of like deer or bear because people like looking at that on a recording. But long story short, the system and the recordings are stored in the house and only in the house, and are owned by the homeowner and not anybody else.
So, like, that leads me to my next question. So, is that not what happens if you buy something off the shelf, like a Nest or a Ring or so? Like, that's not typical?
No.
Like, what you do is not typical?
No. So most installed systems, like what we would install, that is typical, where it is owned and in the home. But the off-the-shelf products that you'll find, something like Nest or Ring or any number of those camera systems, you either by default don't have recording capabilities, or you have to pay for recording capabilities. And all of that footage, especially if you're paying for it, and hopefully only if you're paying for it, and there's an exception to that, lots of exceptions to that, it's being stored in the cloud. So if you slip and fall, or you say something funny, or someone breaks into the house, whatever that footage might be, you run outside without your robe on, like all of that, all of that goes to the cloud, and who knows who has access to that? Nobody knows. Not even Google, not Nest, not Amazon. Like basically you can expect it to exist anywhere. And the most striking thing to that happened recently, and this isn't something that's exactly not known, but it's one of the more prevalent examples of it. If you remember Savannah Guthrie, I think was it the Today Show?
Yeah.
The host, her mother was, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this, is horrendously abducted from her home. And I think to this day, when we recorded this, they haven't found her or who did it. She had a Ring camera on her front door. However, she wasn't paying for a subscription. I don't remember how or when that came out, but it was made known through the family or
Sure.
police or something. But she didn't have an active subscription. So basically, the way it works under those circumstances is you have a Ring doorbell and somebody rings it. You can see them, you can talk to them, but if there were to be something that needs to get recorded, it's not supposed to be getting recorded. And it's definitely not supposed to be getting recorded all the time, right? Come to find out, months before this occurred, that individual who they feel is a prime suspect in this visited the home, didn't use the doorbell. Maybe they did. I actually can't remember, but I know there was both still footage and video that was saved and stored by Ring and accessed at a later date when it wasn't supposed to be getting recorded.
That's crazy.
So if you think of all of those devices that exist now, potentially on your front door, if you're not paying for recording because you intentionally don't want recording to happen, guess what's happening?
It's recording.
It's being stored and it's being accessed by who knows.
That's crazy. My parents have one, like on each door.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. And they don't own it, right? They don't, unlike a system that you guys install where it's all stored, like how we've kind of said in other videos, in the brains,
Yep.
right? Inside, you own it. It's yours. It doesn't get accessed. Those other ones that, like, that's how all those TikTok videos get made, isn't it? I'll have to feel a little more guilty when I watch all the videos of people falling off their front porch.
Now, those people might be paying for a recording and they're consenting to it.
It's possible.
I have no qualm or issue with that. I mean, outside of just the whole premise of paying extra to be the product.
I was going to say for privacy.
And for privacy. But just it's so crazy to me that even though the recording shouldn't exist, those photos. Now, there's an argument to be made that, like, thank God that was available. And then the conversation becomes what is your privacy worth?
Right, I mean, that's the larger issue, right? That's probably a whole other video that we could talk about.
We may not even get into that.
But I do think that's probably the larger, for me, that would be the larger issue. I mean, if I'm going to run out without my bathrobe on, I really don't want the world to see that.
You are in control of that footage.
And I want to be in control. Like, I want to be able to, like, send this to my husband, like, look what I did today.
Yeah.
But I don't need TikTok to know that.
Correct.
I don't need that for everybody to know.
Yeah.
So that was really good. I'm really glad we talked about that, because I think that's just a really important distinction for people to understand. While these products are great and convenient, and like you said, like, thank goodness they did have some of those images, there is a trade-off you kind of have to think about when you're doing that. And there are advantages to having a system that is probably a little more expensive, but maybe worth that in the end. So thank you for that explanation. Thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.